if Ocean Gate was anything like Ed Harris in The Abyss, okay, they would have crushed it. Oh wait, my bad.
Oh,
Anyway,
Pat.
speaking of crushing it, the Nintendo Direct was this week. We'll never know the depths that Nintendo went to put this presentation together. That one's free. You guys keep that one.
I like
anyway.
that one.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode 117 of Press Any Key. This special remote edition because somebody got shingles. I'm your host, Pat Apparano. With me, as always, are my hosts, Nick McFly and Mike Burke.
Howdy.
You can find all our social media below at pressanykey.tv. You could also join the conversation in our Discord, which is also linked below. So, yeah, here we are, everyone.
Should I open up the Discord game night, poker night?
We have one
Everybody
of those?
can play while they're going.
Would that be a problem for this episode?
I would not do that. I would. All right.
That'd be the same thing as, what's that kid that's, the video with the kids skating over the trains that you were sticking in some of our videos?
What?
Help, I'm a kid skating. You don't remember that?
What?
No.
What are you saying? Well, I'm
You were trying that. It was a TikTok trend. You were like, "Oh, put the clip over this."
Oh, the Subway Surfer.
Oh, Subway Surfer. Yeah.
This will be that. It just be me playing poker while you guys do the episode.
Oh, okay. So
and we're on episode 118.
What?
Yeah, Flash was 117.
Oh, it's 118.
That was an alternate.
You just wanted to not remember the Flash.
Yeah.
Is like what really
Yeah.
happened.
Well, I think I had a massive aneurysm, and that's why I forgot about the Flash. The Flash did that to me. Timelines and whatnot. So, speaking of trash superhero movies, you guys, there was a trailer that came out this week, which it's one of those things where it came out and I was like, I can't believe these are still coming. So there was a Kraven trailer that was released, and I'm assuming you guys watched it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So I have the synopsis here. Right now, it's just a Russian immigrant, Sergei Kravenov. How subtle. Is on a mission to prove he is the most excellent hunter in the world. Man, it is it's something else. So Nick, you saw this trailer first and you sent it to everybody. What are your initial thoughts when you watched it?
I mean, I like Aaron Taylor Johnson, so I want him to do well, but it's just this seems like it's set up for failure. There's no way this is going to be good. It's part of the fucking Morbius verse.
I have an alternate theory to offer you, but I'd like to hear what Mike has to say first.
Okay.
Dude, I don't know. It's a Marvel movie, so it has potential to do okay.
It's not an MCU movie.
I know. It's a Marvel movie, so it has potential to do okay, but it also just looks like a really cheap, bad, action movie.
That's right, Nick. We know how Burke, we know how Sony likes to do.
Yeah, but it just looks like a bad action movie. It doesn't look like it's anything that's going to make it fun. Well,
the one thing I am impressed with this trailer is the amount of gratuitous violence I see on display, which I think is a really good step in the right direction, especially a Kraven the Hunter movie. I don't know the production budget on this. I have to imagine it's high because it's a superhero movie. But that being said, if this turns out to be some sort of R-rated action film that's actually competently put together, it stands a chance. Look at those Extraction movies. If this movie's nearly as good as those Extraction movies, it'll be a hit.
Are those the Chris Hemsworth ones?
Yeah, the new one just came out, and apparently it's even better than the first one.
What do they count as a hit? Because I haven't heard a single. I don't know anybody who's ever seen any of those movies.
It's one of those things where it exists in the streaming bubble. It came out.
It came out for a week.
It came out for a week. It's the biggest numbers they've ever had again, and then the critics liked it again. So
dude, it's just the lottery where it's we've had a record number of people buy tickets and we're at $1 billion. It's
yeah, that
money
happens.
just goes up.
So I think all right. So this is coming out October 6th, 2023. So this will be something we cover on the show. It does have that air of Sony trash, the Morbius Venom movies. And you're right, Aaron Taylor Johnson does look good. I do have some trivia though.
Oh, he looks good.
Okay, so This is set in Sony's Spider-Man universe, which also goes by the acronym, this pushed me over the edge today when I read this. The SSU. The same universe in which Venom, Let There Be Carnage, Morbius, Silver Sable, The Black Cat, Night Watch, Jackpot, Silk, and Madam Web are set, which are all movies that are set to come out. I don't know if they'll ever get made, but they're on the schedule.
Hey, so I mean, Sony, they just keep plugging along.
So
they don't let anything. That's the one thing I'll say about Sony is they don't let anything stop them.
Yeah. There were many attempts.
Come out, damn it.
There were many attempts to bring Kraven to the big screen, all of which ultimately fell through. Sam Raimi wanted him to appear in Spider-Man before it was canceled, and Kraven's spear appeared in The Amazing Spider-Man 2 as a tease for his planned appearance in the Sinister Six film that was also canceled. See, there's precedent for this. As for the MCU, Ryan Coogler wanted to include him in Black Panther, taking inspiration from Christopher Priest's Black Panther comic, but he couldn't secure the rights, which is so weird. John Watts wanted Kraven to be the backup villain for Spider-Man No Way Home in case the multiverse story didn't pan out. So Kraven, listen, Kraven's the comic that got bumped. You know what I mean? Like
every time,
so this is finally his time. And like I said, I was happy that like with Venom, they dangled R rating in our face, and then it was a PG-13, and everyone's like, well, we'll go see it anyway. And they pushed it as far as PG-13 can go. Same thing with Venom 2. This one, I feel like it's a good one to go for an R rating, because this is an inherently violent character, like extremely violent.
If we already saw a dude get like a bear trap around his head, I think we're gonna get an R rating.
Yeah.
You got a bear trap to the dick.
So then we have
what?
This will be Sony's first R-rated movie, as well as the first R-rated movie produced by any studio, any R-rated Marvel, R-rated Marvel film. Excuse me, movie produced by any studio since Deadpool 2. Before Aaron Taylor Johnson was cast as Kraven the Hunter, listen to these names: Brad Pitt, Keanu Reeves. Is he just like up for everything? Wow. John David Washington and Adam Driver were all in the running for the role, and this is the fourth film in the SSU. So it's Venom, Venom 2, Morbius, and this, which is like,
what a terrible name.
I know, it's so bad. Like,
it's Sony's Sinister universe? Is
Sony's Spider-Man universe.
Nick, yours is better. Like,
I like that. The Sinister Sony universe.
More like the cynical Sony universe. We're just here they're literally just riding on the coattails of Marvel at this point. Couple things I'm looking forward to with this. Number one, not a multiverse movie.
No, it's not.
Not saying I need a break or anything. However, I think that story would be handled by better people, and
Pat,
this isn't on it.
I hate to break it to you. At the end of the trailer, there's a little line that's like, "They want to know why they call me the Rhino."
Yeah.
It's a crossover, maybe not a multiverse, but we already have precedent from.
Yeah, it says it exists in that world. I'm expecting to see some sort of crossover elements.
You're gonna get some Michael
but
Keaton.
I don't want any multiverse bullshit.
Like how the fuck did I get here?
I'm waiting for the end of the post gate, like the post credit scenes to be like this must have something to do with Spider-Man. It'd be like, oh, is he gonna show up in this one? No.
You know, the worst thing that can happen is they can actually make It's Morbin Time happen. Like, there's a solid chance they
the
do
meme
that.
would die. Yes.
Oh, the meme, yeah.
So then,
I don't know. It just looks like shit. Like, it looks like it should have came out back when, like, the X-Men movies came out, like 15 years ago.
I keep saying this about these movies, these Venom movies, and they make money. Morbius didn't make money.
SSU movies.
Oh, sorry, the SSU. So, I don't know. I don't think Kraven has the type of draw that Venom does, but he certainly has more draw than fucking Morbius.
It's got fat Russell Crowe.
I swear to God, Jared Leto had something on a producer at Sony, and they gave him a Morbius movie to keep him quiet.
I don't know. I feel like that's the thing is, I think everybody likes Aaron Taylor Johnson, but I don't think he's at a level yet where people go just to see him.
No.
Whereas Jared Leto is. There are people who will go and see a movie for Jared. Oh, wow, that's interesting. Jared Leto, the guy from 30 Seconds to Mars. I'll see that. So this is more interesting to me that they're just like, take this actor who is a star, but he doesn't have like star power to put asses in seats yet, and stick him in this character who the general population doesn't really know. Spider-Man fans know Kraven. I don't think, like if you ask random people on the street, they don't know who the fuck that is.
No, yeah. I mean, it's the general audience that fuels all these movies. Ultimately, what's going to let this live and die at the box office is it a good movie? And I just don't see that happening. I can see the angle where, hey, it might have a shit story, but the action's really well done. So, like, it's a good action movie. But I just don't. I don't know. I just don't see it coming together on the plot.
Andrew Garfield cameo, possibly.
No, I don't. I don't see that
see it
at all.
happening.
No, I
don't need
no.
I don't know.
Nope.
I don't even think from the trailer that the action looked that great. I mean, I know it's still early on, and I think the effects just looked kind of shitty. I know the VFX will get like smooth out, but I was like, if we're coming off of like John Wick, and like you're just continually setting and hiring the bar for what a gunfighting action movie is, and then we get garbage like Fast and Furious, which is just like absolute, simple trash. But if you're doing a thing where it's like, this dude's a hunter, he's really cool, he can do stuff, he talks with the animals or he communes with them to make these fights, like, you better do some cool animalistic shit instead of just like,
Do you guys see that lion?
Pulls a heart out of an animal and eats it.
See that lion? His dad abandoned his ass after that lion came for his neck. He's like, you know what? Fuck this pussy. We're out of here.
Yeah.
Like
he's weak, like his depressed mother.
I know. It's like, goddamn. It's like it also has that weird like that comes off like. Do you remember in Morbius when it was like when they were like, oh, what's your name? He says his name. He's like, well, I'm just going to call you Toby from now on or whatever his fucking name. That's what it sounded. I was like, oh, they're back. Okay, good. I'm glad these guys are still employed. So,
do you guys remember that Idris Elba movie that came out like last year or early this year? This feels like the same level of action and the same level of who gives a fuck.
Have you seen Beast?
No.
Beast is solid creature feature, nothing incredible. There's
exactly.
No big.
That's what I mean.
It's what it is. This though, I have a feeling is going to be a little bit more than that. I feel like there's going to be Listen, there's potential here to have like some cool hunting scenes, not just like action with guys with guns. I mean, like some cool hunts, like maybe outthinks a fucking water buffalo or something. I don't know. You figure it out. But like
that's the movie I want to go and pay see. I want to see a guy outsmart a water buffalo.
Or I don't know. Like,
how about a Kraven Predator crossover?
I mean, the Predator wins, but yeah, I'm down.
Yeah, but it'd be like Prey.
So what's like? Do you know like a good amount of background on him? Like how like. All I know is I don't know really anything about Kraven, but like I just know that he gets lion blood in him or some shit.
I don't. There's different interpretations.
He gets bit by a radioactive lion.
They had all the spiders coming down.
Yeah.
There's different interpretations of the character throughout the years. Obviously, like any good comic book character who keeps being resuscitated and milked out for money.
Just like Grimace.
Quite honestly, the whole thing is just that like it's sometimes it's more spiritual, sometimes it's more scientific. I know in the cartoon that I watched when I was a kid, Spider-Man the animated series, he could change, like he almost had like a super soldier like form where he turned into the buff Kraven, and if not, he was like, oh, I'm a vet. You know what I mean? Like he could pretty much Hulk in and out of himself.
The buff Kraven is a great name.
So the whole thing, and I mean, like, Kraven's also going to be in Spider-Man 2 that comes out this fall for PlayStation 5, and he's being billed as one of the big bads alongside Venom. So maybe they're just pushing this character overall. You know what I mean? They want the movie to come out right when the game hits. He's a big villain in the game. The whole thing is like, I'm hunting Spider-Man. That's what I'm here for.
Just to go back to like how his abilities and stuff. I have his Wikipedia up, the ultimate source of knowledge, and this says that like normally he ingests potion made from jungle herbs to grant him superhuman physical abilities, which I like better than a drop of lion's blood gets in his mouth.
I mean, maybe it could be. I don't
Maybe
know.
that
He could
line
be
was on bath salts, Nick. You ever think of that?
I didn't think of that.
You know,
No.
I'm just saying, like, if you got lion bath salts, blood in your mouth, you'd be fucking tweaking too. All right, so
This is like Charlie Sheen Tiger Blood shit all over
it
again.
really is. It really is. Well,
Oh, imagine if they got fucking Joe Exotic as Kraven. I need to Photoshop
yes,
that
I
right
have
now.
kinky sex, and no, I will not wear a suit. Like that's.
I will never financially recover. That's
I
Sony after
called
this
twice,
movie
not
flops
a
again.
fuck you. Hello, what do you need? Rest in peace, Joe Exotic. Rest in peace. So, and listen, Sony's still building towards that Sinister Six movie. You know, we got Vulture, we got Venom. This is Kraven. This is the fourth piece. We still got 2 more movies to fall in place. I can't wait to
You
see
only
how they
said
do
3.
this.
Wait, who's the 4th?
We have Vulture, Venom, Morbius, and then Kraven.
Oh,
Kraven's the 4th. So
And they mention Rhino at the end of
okay,
the
so there you
trailer.
go. So there's 5, and then if 6, who would 6 be? The Lizard? Would it be Dr. Octopus? The Green Goblin? I don't know.
I think it'd probably be
How
one
would
of the
they make
people-
Grimace.
standalone
Grimace.
anti-hero features for these characters too? You
It
know?
might not. I'd say if they took all those people for No Way Home, they're not going to reuse any of them.
That's actually probably a solid idea. Like just leave
We'll
that
probably
alone.
get
Like yeah.
We might get a Mysterio.
Yeah, I think a Mysterio
back.
that actually like it's just one of those things where it's just like it speaks to how strong of a world and like IP Spider-Man is, that there's all these like villains that we can reference and that are all solid villains, but they just don't work without Spider-Man, I don't think. And honestly, we've accepted this idea of multiple franchises and multiple different iterations of characters. Just fucking have your own Spider-Man at this point. Just fucking do it already. Like,
Or just reboot Andrew Garfield. People would be about it. People would
I
be into
agree
it.
with that as well.
Yeah, if they were like, we're just continuing the Andrew Garfield Spider-Verse, and
Yeah.
he's just gonna go fight all these random people in one-offs.
Yeah, I would be fine with that too. Or have him be the Spider-Man for the Sinister Six movie. I don't know. Figure it out. So, with that though, we're probably gonna watch. We will watch this. Hopefully, we won't get COVID though. So, all right. Well, speaking of COVID, inflation. Inflation. Everybody here knows what inflation is, right? Do I have to spell it out for anybody?
Yeah, I don't know.
When
where
you
we're
like blow up a pool floating.
going.
That's right. That's right.
I blew up some balloons today.
Oh
Some
yeah.
of those Mylar balloons. It took the breath out of me.
Took the
How's
wind
that-
right
how's
out
that-
of my sails.
Yeah.
How's that gym training going, Nick?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm lucky I've been training. Otherwise, I might not have survived.
So anyway, my point with bringing up inflation is because apparently that's affecting the price of video game consoles, which is something that I have never seen before in my life. As a matter of fact, I thought video game consoles just get cheaper over time, and apparently that is not
But
the case.
They're immune to inflation. Like that's that like congressional law.
You don't
That's why
remember
we
when
have
they signed that?
Yeah, that's why we have shitty healthcare, is because that
All the
These
money's
don't
going
go-
to Xbox.
they're subsidizing the Xbox.
Oh, okay. This is a bit. For a second, I was like, did I miss the Microsoft immune to inflation bill? Like,
Yeah,
inflation
you
immunity?
sure did.
So anyway, The Verge, which is a great source for tech news if you want to build a PC, is saying that Xbox is actually doing a price increase. Now this comes at an interesting time when on the daily we're seeing Xbox and PlayStation battle it out with regulators over the purchase of the largest video game publisher in the industry, Activision Blizzard. So number one, we see that Xbox Game Pass Ultimate is gonna get a price increase. Moving from the
boy.
base subscription is moving up moving up to $10.99 from $9.99, so it's $1, you know. And then
Unsubscribing.
and then the ultimate package is moving up from $14.99 to $16.99. Sons of bitches, got us on $2 then.
What's the difference between the standard and the ultimate?
Ultimate is Xbox Live Gold, and it's for both your console and your PC. So you're able to play games online, cloud saves in between any of your Xbox devices, or like your phone Xbox app if you want to play games on there with like a controller on your phone, like all that shit. And then the base is just for the PC. So then Xbox Series X console pricing is really here to match what Sony did last year. So Xbox Series X is moving to £479.99 in the UK, and then $450 across all the European markets. Canadian dollars, dude. I don't understand Canadian money. $649.99 is what this console is going to sell for.
Loonies.
That's more than the
Loonies.
PS3.
Yeah, it's like 30% more or something.
And then Australia is all the way up to 799 Australian dollars. That is fucking insane. Now, apparently games are like 120 over there. Like, I don't know how Australian money works. Is it worth that little?
No, it's just because they have to import everything, and that's just a bunch of criminals. So
okay, yeah, it makes sense. So then the Series S pricing will not be adjusted in any markets, remaining at $299.99. Now that I find to be very interesting, because man, developers are having a rough time with that piece of hardware, getting games to run smoothly on it. And number two, they just can't move them, man. They just can't get them off the shelves. So maybe this is a way to push people away from buying the Series X. Inflation obviously in some of the parts of the world, but I mean, like, maybe push people away from the Series X and try to get them to buy the Series S,
I mean, like, this also comes in, the same time where they're saying we're not going to get a new Xbox or a PlayStation console for 5 years.
I mean, that doesn't surprise me, though. That's the exact console life cycle. You know what I mean?
No, I get it. But
and there's none of these half-breeds coming out halfway through the year. I mean, halfway through the cycle. Like, there's no PS5 Pro coming. There's no Series X Pro, or this is it. So,
but it's just like, fuck you. Here's another 5 years, and it costs more money.
Yeah, I mean, and the other thing too is you got to think about, dude. They said in a meeting this week, Elder Scrolls 6 is at least another 5 years away. When they said that, I was like, of course it is. They're gonna.
I don't need a console for another 5 years.
They're gonna close out Series X with the Elder Scrolls 6. You know what I mean? And that's what you're gonna fucking play that game on. And it's one of those things where it's just
2017 they announced that, right?
Yes, and a reason they announced it was to shift the focus from the shit show that was about to be Fallout 76. So it doesn't surprise me. If you're an existing Game Pass subscriber, these monthly prices won't affect you until August 13th or September 13th in Germany. So, shout out to the Germans. Now, Xbox Game Pass members will see new prices immediately on July 6th. If you're subscribed to Xbox Game Pass through a yearly code, the new pricing won't affect until you go in to renew your subscription for the year.
All right, so do it yearly, everybody. You got until September or August.
Get on it. Get on it, everyone. And like I said, this comes off of Jim Ryan raising the prices of the PS5 in other markets, only by $50 across the board, though. Nothing like this where it's staggered in different countries depending on what their sales are. So
this is like two gas stations across the street from one another who are just raising it every day by a penny.
No. I agree. You know what? It's just funny how it comes out now in the middle of this big lawsuit legacy thing. You know what I mean? If this deal goes through, it'll be absolutely monumental. So they'll want to capitalize on it because they're going to have a whole brand new player base coming over them. There's going to be, if they put World of Warcraft on a Game Pass subscription, do you know how many people will just when they bought Bethesda had their own game launcher, right? They shut that shit down and let you transfer all of your games to Steam. You could also transfer them to Game Pass too if you wanted to. I mean, to the Xbox app. When they buy Activision, I can see a future where they shut down Battle.net and they bring all of those games, Warzone, Diablo, Overwatch 2, all of StarCraft 2, all of the big fucking games that they have on Battle.net, over to Xbox Game Pass, lock up behind all of that content behind a Game Pass subscription, the people would go fucking bananas.
Oh yeah,
They would go
they're gonna
fucking
actually.
or even you could link your Game Pass subscription to BattleNet, and then there you go. You know what I mean? Like, you don't even have to move everything over if you prefer the BattleNet, and you don't. You know what I mean? Like, either way, that would be an absolutely monumental game change. You know what I mean?
This is the only way Microsoft can stay like relevant against like PlayStation exclusive titles is by buying up the entire rest of the market. Like,
So it seems, but the whole thing is that, like, so even if this deal doesn't go through, what's the plan B? They're just going to go back to getting third-party exclusives. They're just going to buy the publishing rights to a third-party title. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Where that's what PlayStation did with Final Fantasy, which is something that we're talking about later, and people were pissed off about because that game's not going to. I mean, it's coming to PC later on, but it's never going to Xbox. Like, that was something that they aired out in the lawsuit this week, that Sony's going around and it's like, hey, we don't want to acquire your studio, but we want to acquire the publishing rights to your game, and we'll fund your game, and then we'll put it out on our platform and only our platform, and here's our schematics, and so you can optimize for our platform only. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I think that's what Xbox would have to go back to, because their strategy of buying up a bunch of fucking studios, putting the games on Game Pass, and then hoping that their next game is good, and it's really just kind of mediocre, because there's no stakes. You know what I mean?
No,
There's no stakes. You're
and they just end
you're
up
an
like
internal.
shutting them down.
Yeah, exactly. You know, at least at EA, they're like, hey, get it together or we're shutting this shit down. You know what I mean? Like, whereas with Microsoft, it's like, apparently there is. I mean, I hope Arcane and Bethesda get it together. I mean, Starfield is really their last. You know what I mean? It's that will make or break Xbox at this point. I'm convinced. But either way,
You really think so?
oh yeah, dude. At the state that Xbox has, this is the cycle of Xbox. They always have like this amazing lineup, day and date on Game Pass, and then the games come out. But Redfall was something else, man. That was not just a bad game. That was an inexcusable game from a studio that makes absolute masterpieces. And they put out a game that didn't even meet the bare minimum requirements to be a video game.
Now, at the
Bethesda,
time that came out, you were saying like, "Oh, this is like they bombed on purpose." They
that
threw
was
the
my
game.
tinfoil hat. Yeah, it was my theory.
Do
It
you
was like,
still hold that theory, or do you think it's like they just fucking dropped the ball?
a part of me is, I don't know yet, because here's where I'm at. I think Starfield holds some potential, but the more and more that Todd Howard talks about it, the less I get excited about it. So it's one of those things where it's just like Bethesda has, their last couple games have been like broken and disappointing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we
So,
know
like,
what to expect.
we
from a
are
Bethesda game.
primed for disappointment with a Bethesda game on the horizon. And the thing is that if it's a bad Bethesda game, like Bethesda doesn't break their streak, and then Microsoft also doesn't break their streak, like what would be the, it's one of those things. Now the question is called in, what's the incentive for Game Pass if you get these games day and date and Bethesda just releases an unfinished broken mess? You know what I mean?
I just think that so many people are bought into Xbox as their preferred game system that I don't think anybody's going to really migrate, or at least that large of a population of the gaming community is going to migrate somewhere else. They're just going to be pissed off that Microsoft is striking out again.
The number one pattern right now for gamers who started off on the original Xbox was, most people had original Xbox and PS2. And it went original Xbox, 360, and then after the 360, the most people went to PS4, because the Xbox One didn't offer that big of a difference, and the PS4 had better specs and better games coming out,
and significantly better exclusives.
Then I mean, the PS5 is also destroying the console sales right now. Like, it's not even close in some places. So, like I said, PS5's got their hardware and their exclusives, and they see it. And like Xbox is, that was another thing they said, is that they've lost the hardware wars. They're in last place everywhere.
Now, do you think that's honest, or do you think that that's them just
I mean, you can see
to
that
their lawsuit?
I mean, I think they're playing it up to pander to their lawsuit, but they are third place everywhere. You know what I mean? But they have been third place as well, you know? But that's the thing, is that like they're still trying to chase the high of the Xbox 360, and they can't because the rest of their competitors offer a similar or better experience at a competitive price point. You know?
That's exactly what I was gonna say. Where there's really no incentive to be an Xbox console customer at this point. You know, if everything virtually is going with like going to be on a PC, Xbox and consoles are getting more expensive, and you can have a very good comparable, if not better, PC for not too much more money, and
That does everything else that you need it to do.
that does everything else that you needed to do. Technology is only going to continue to become more accessible and stronger. Like, it's not like, if you think 15 years ago, people who built their own PCs, it was significantly more like, wow, you really know how this works.
Yeah. Now it's like a Lego set, like,
Yeah.
and the
now
pool
it's
gets
pretty
bigger.
straightforward.
But
and
even
it's just
then,
going to continue. But so it's going to literally just be coming down to the content, and PlayStation knocks it out of the park.
I believe there's like 30 to 35 million PC gamers on the planet, right? But the console markets, like the PS5, has already sold over 100 million units. So the consoles still do the bulk of the business. But yes, it is going that way.
Yeah, I totally agree.
As a casual gamer, definitely casual compared to you, Pat, I like to have a console. Right now I got the PS4, and I like to have a console at home because I use it like pretty much as my entertainment center. I don't have like a Fire Stick or a Roku or anything like that. I have my PlayStation. I rarely play games on it, and I just primarily use it to stream Netflix and like HBO Go or Max.
Dated terms.
Do you see that as a right? Do you see those? Do you think that's a big part of the market? Is people who just want to use it like that?
Absolutely. Because
but I think. Go ahead, Pat.
I was just gonna say that the Xbox One was originally supposed to be the living room revolutionizer. You remember this, Mike? The HDMI from your cable box went into the Xbox,
right into it,
and then out into the TV, and then you can change your channel, or you could play a video game and watch TV at the same time. So I do think that is a big part of the experience. However, they found out everybody hates the Kinect and having to like use your voice commands to change things. So they ended up doing away with that, but they ended up still keeping the streaming apps. You know what I mean? So I do think that is a big component of it for sure.
But Nick, I think to your question, answered it almost in itself. You have a PS4. You're not going to buy a PS5 to do that.
Right.
If you're going to do that, at that point, I'm sure the next TV that you buy, it's going to be a smart TV. It's going to have that integrated. And if you really want a separate peripheral, you're going to get an Apple TV.
You're going to get an Apple TV.
$100. Yeah. Like a lot of these are legacy uses for it.
That's true, but also the reason I would maybe get a PS5 is because I do like the PS5 exclusives, which comes back to the beginning. It's like those are titles I can't get anywhere else.
Exactly, and that goes back to, again, what is Xbox doing that is actually going to make itself competitive and not just completely pivot to eventually either PC or continue with like Microsoft gaming hardware or software.
I agree with all this. I mean, we'll see how it goes, though. Xbox is all about the ecosystem. And you got to remember, the other thing is that Microsoft is one of the largest companies on the planet. It can subsidize its video game Xbox losses because it literally invented the computers that we use every day.
It prints money.
Yes. Yeah. So it's one of those things where, listen, that company's got military contracts. Okay. It can subsidize its consumer electronics department for as long as it needs to create.
That's why I don't see it dying, like you were saying earlier. It's like I don't see it going away.
I don't see it like dying, but I see it remaining in third place and it never growing to its true potential.
It's in a coma for the foreseeable future.
I see it. You know what I mean? Like, because every time they fuck something up, it just takes longer to rebuild back up the hype. So.
What would have been really interesting is if they had waited to release the Google phone, or I'm sorry, the Windows phones. If they had waited like, I don't know, maybe 10 years where there's so much more mobile gaming and capability of mobile gaming now with the amount of people playing Fortnite and PUBG and all of those kind of like games on their phone. I wonder if that phone wouldn't have died.
Yeah, well, I mean, the OS still sucked, but I wonder.
You know what I mean,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Like, yeah, if you
No,
made
I
a if you
do,
made a
and like,
powerful phone,
imagine having a phone that you can. I mean, I guess you can kind of do this anyway with any phone, but like, you can link your phone to your console or to your PC through the Xbox. You know what I mean? Just interconnectivity, like something where like there's an incentive for nerds to be like, hey, look at this clip that I got. You know what I mean? Or like, I could text this to
Yeah.
somebody. Something like that. So.
mhm.
Either way,
I don't know.
though, I
I don't know where this falls into the conversation, but I do. You, Pat, you and I were talking about this recently, and for me, the hang up with getting Xbox Game Pass on my PC is because I still want to have ownership over my games.
oh yeah.
Like the game that we're talking about, right, is City Skylines 2. I'm really looking forward to it, and I could get it on Game Pass. I could get Game Pass and play it on there, and it would be cost effective. But there's something to I want to own it. I want it to just live on my computer. I don't want to, if I eventually want to get rid of Game Pass, I don't want it to be on there. So as much as we're talking about like, oh, the ecosystem, they're leading the way on an ecosystem, I just don't want to be a part of it. I just want to own my games.
Yeah, no, I don't. I mean, you can do that. You can just buy an Xbox and then buy all your games too. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? If you want to do that, but it's one
But
of
if
those.
they're leading the way with the ecosystem and their console sales are in the garbage,
Yeah,
I
there's an
don't know how
incentive
that
there
works
for
out.
sure. Well, all right. Yeah, it's because subsidization by their military contracts. That's
Yeah.
how that works out. But either way, I definitely I definitely see your point there. And there is something to be said about, I mean, there's this whole thing going around now where like if you buy like physical editions of games, they don't even have a disc anymore. They have a download card inside. Like I just got that Spider-Man collector's edition. There ain't no disc in that game. It comes with the download card and the statue of Venom choking out the two Spider-Men. And then
The that I've
like
got such a problem with.
yeah,
Yeah,
and
like
like cuz here's the thing, every disc at least comes with a 1.0 version of the game on your machine. So if you can't connect to internet or like you want to go back and play something, you know what I mean? Like there is a larger conversation I feel like to be had about digital consumption of video games. Obviously with Steam, you know, it's a PC. So you're not really like you've always had to install games on PCs. You know what I mean? It wasn't just put a disc in and it reads it. But it's also the server connectivity too now because everything's like got to be online. So there's some games you just can't even play online anymore, or like they won't even boot up because it can't ping to the
'Cause it
server.
revokes it, yeah.
Yeah.
I think
So
that's a big like Nick, that's a really good point with yours is they have this whole conversation with music when like
yeah,
CDs and digital were there. It's significantly easier to download a 3 or 4 megabyte file, which is a song, versus download, crack, run, and like, have a game actually play.
right.
But I think it's like Nintendo's horrible with this. They do this all the time. They'll just clear entire generations of their games. Like they shut down the 3DS shop, I think like a month or two ago or something like that. And those games, unless you have the physical copy, you literally cannot play.
You need the
So,
phone with Flappy Bird on it.
dude, it's seriously that, and it's like it makes it more difficult. Like it I think realistically with video games, it increases the like level of piracy and acceptability of piracy because I'm all about music piracy is pretty null and void. I feel at this point it still happens,
Yeah.
but you can generally get whatever you want to listen to. Like if I have to pay $300 for the Chibi Robo video game, like
how
to
dare
play it
you?
on GameCube,
It's scary to me
You could also
like
just
as
mod
a
your GameCube.
society
I
where
know, but
everything is
that's
moving to subscriber model. Like even functions on your fucking vehicle are subscriber based now. It's like
That
I
should be
don't like.
outlawed. That should be
It should
outlawed.
be
that
outlawed.
should be outlawed.
I don't like that everything in our society, anything that has anything to do, if it's got a computer in it, you don't own anything. You rent it.
Well,
Yeah,
because
fuck
that
that.
too, like the EULA's like end user license agreements for anything can always like you agree to it, you have to agree to it, and they're like, we can change this at any time. So
Yep.
you could buy a car and you could have 50 things come with it, and then they're just like one day it's like just kidding, you only get 10 and you're screwed. Like
You want to use your backup cam? Sorry, $12
you
a
want to
month.
use your brakes? Good luck. Like,
It's like entering a contract with somebody, and then if you say something, that may be truthful but hurtful about the other party, they like hold the right to change the terms of the contract. You know what I mean? It's almost
Ray,
like
I don't alter our agreement any further.
exactly. You know what I mean? Like that's exactly what I'm saying. Is that like you basically submit to having your rights taken away on these things. Anyway, okay. My point is just that it's weird that this is coming up now in the heat of all this Xbox and PlayStation drama. So, speaking of PlayStation dramas, there was a new exclusive drop for PlayStation 5 this week, you guys, and I played a little bit of it.
Chibi Robo.
It was Chibi Robo 16. It's here. Now, so Final Fantasy 16 came out this week, and I would like to start off this review by saying, for anyone who's expecting someone to know quite a lot about the Final Fantasy series, not me. I'm not your guy. However, I have played Kingdom Hearts 1. I did play the Final Fantasy remake.
one of the 50 Kingdom Hearts games.
Well, I just downloaded the rest of them because I do want to play the rest of them. Yeah. And what's that other one I played? Oh, and this one, Final Fantasy 16, obviously. So, just to get started, for some people who may not be Final Fantasy fans, because I'm not one, I had to go out and I had to learn about some of these things. Number one, these games are not a congruent story. They are all different. Every single game is different. The world is different. The lore is different. Everything is different. Mike, you've played a bunch of Final Fantasy games, right?
I played a good amount. Like but I haven't played like any recent ones. Like I'm talking like PlayStation 1 and PlayStation 2 games.
Did you play the original 7?
I played the original 7. I played the old ones. Like I've played the ones that are like actual turn-based combat versus like action RPG.
So I did I do have some comments about the combat system, but basically my background with this is like zip. But I do know that all of them are different. They're all a brand new story, taking different inspirations from whatever's going on in the time. I do know Final Fantasy 14 was their first like open world MMORPG that was so shit when it came out. They shut it down and then they relaunched it like a year later, and now it's like one of the best online games that has lots of content always come out for it. That's right, Nick. That's what it looks like now.
Nick's like the mushrooms are hitting.
Yeah. So anyway, this game, they decided this is the first mainline Final Fantasy game in 7 years. And they have pivoted from turn-based combat to a full-on action RPG. Very much like Devil May Cry. So
I heard it compared to like God of War. Did you feel it similar or no?
No, not at all. Yeah. I feel, you know what? So here's how I felt about it. So I'm familiar with the 7 remake and the Kingdom Hearts games, and now those games are like a mix of real-time combat and turn-based combat because number one, there's 2 different modes. You can go to classic mode, which means you can just, do the turn-based combat, but it's like you switch through the party members and then choose what abilities they use while they're still punching and hitting each other and doing damage. Then there's also this new hybrid where you control the hits in between. So you're getting that real-time vibe, but then you can call out a spell from a party member or something. You know what I mean? They're trying to have their cake and eat it too.
Yeah, that's very much how Kingdom Hearts was.
And that's exactly what they did for Final Fantasy VII Remake. Yeah.
You had the D-pad basically to call out your spell slots of your teammates.
Oh, yes. So this game did away with that and went straight for an action game. So it really is like you have to learn a bunch of combos. You can switch in between different elemental powers. You have different swords you can pick up. Nice little costume changes here and there that make you look more and more badass. But just to start off, like I do like the combat system. I think the combat system's fun. It grew on me over time. It's fun to switch in between powers. Sometimes it gets a little repetitive here and there, but other than that, I think I just haven't played long enough to have the full combat set available to me. But the stuff I have right now, I remember a couple hours ago when I was playing, I unlocked like the next level of combat. I was like, oh shit, this is some fun stuff in here. So I do like the combat.
When you talk about like switching between people and it being like live time in that kind of way, how much do you find you're actually like switching between people
Oh,
versus
in
kind
this
of like
one, there
brute
is none of
forcing?
that. There is none of that. Like there's still people fighting alongside you, but you never be them. You're
And you
always
don't
Clive.
get to. Can you cue their attacks or
No,
controls or
none
anything?
of
So they're
that.
just.
It's
So your
straight up
job
an
is to just
action
set
game.
them up.
No,
Like,
dude, they just run into combat with you, and then they do their own thing, and they
but do you
fight
get to
guys.
like? Do you get to
No,
customize their armor? Do you get to make
no,
like?
none of that.
Oh, okay.
That's
So
what
you're
I'm saying.
just you.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, dude. This game is like to appeal to the masses, and the game director said that himself. He
Oh.
actually said the way that Final Fantasy will evolve is by getting us to a bigger audience, and I just don't think a large audience would be into our turn-based combat, which
That's valid.
is valid. However, I'll get to it later. I think particularly they did not go deep enough on some of these mechanics. So number one, the story. Dude, I've heard people praising the story and saying they love it. I don't give a shit. I don't care at all.
You
like,
never care about the story.
Dude, god damn it, that is not true, okay?
So 80% of the time you don't care about the
Yeah,
story.
it's only the games that have bad stories that I don't care about the stories. Like this
That's
game,
because like yes, you love like God of War, Last of Us,
God of
like,
War,
all of
Days
those.
Gone, Last of Us, Spider-Man, all of the Sony exclusives. I love them all. Okay, I love the stories they tell, the characters they tell. This game is just not doing it for me. I tried watching a bunch of the cutscenes, and I ended up just skipping through them, and that made the game so much better because this game was going the rate of 60% cutscenes, 40% gameplay, and I've
That's
heard
a Final Fantasy game.
and I've heard that from multiple people. That differing degrees of liking it and not liking it, that this game is very cutscene heavy.
And this is just like it's like a pretty like straightforward Final Fantasy like revenge game that's gonna end up being we have to save the world with shit, right?
Yeah,
like,
that's exactly the way it seems to be going right now, and it's just weird because it's like Game of Thrones in the sense that there's quite a lot of medieval politics that take place in Europe, despite the fact that these all look like Japanese anime characters.
but you're randomly gonna get a gun at some point.
No, you're not gonna get a gun at some point, but that would be funny. But no, it takes direct inspiration from Game of Thrones. That's what they want to do, and it's really funny because I've heard some reviewers even say it definitely takes inspiration from Game of Thrones about how shit the ending is.
Oh no.
Yeah, so I haven't gotten there. However, like I'll put it like I say it on the show all the time. My favorite game reviewer is SkillUp. I will always check out his reviews before I pick something up. He's a huge Final Fantasy guy. He did not like this game. And he did not like this game for the same reasons that I don't find myself liking it as an action game, where I don't feel like the systems are deep enough to really pull me in for that much for that much immersion. I feel like the combat is like I said, I like the combat system, but it is very simplistic. It's not very deep. I feel like the attributes, the gear, the swords, all of that is so surface level. There's like I'll put it like this. It's not like an Elden Ring type of, when that's what you'd come from to expect from a studio like Square Enix that makes Final Fantasy games. You know what I mean?
Right.
The other thing is that this game, I don't know what the sales are yet. We'll know in a few days. But the thing about it is that like it's not like everybody loves it, you know. They're talking about Game of the Year, and then there's a bunch of people on Xbox who are not happy about it, and then there's people who are legitimately like, "Hey, listen, I don't think this is a 10 out of 10. It's solid, but it's not a 10 out of 10," which happened with Deathloop too. But my point about that is just that there is a discourse surrounding this game. It's not exactly like everybody's singing its praises like we normally see from some big releases. The highs are high, but the lows are low. So like there are some parts of this game where I'm like, dude, come on, I'm fucking bored out of my mind. And then there's this part where I'm fighting this dragon lady with my dog on top of a castle, and the action sequences and the combos and like it's amazing. It's fucking wonderful.
And it's fast paced, the combat,
Oh,
right? Like,
dude, super fast paced. There's one section where you go from fighting with a sword against some dragon lady bitch to fighting her mutated form, which is a big scary monster, and then you become a big scary like Godzilla like monster and fight her. After you fight her, you're going on such a rampage, your homie shows up and turns into a giant wizard that floats, and then you guys fight each other. And like this whole time, I'm like, where was this game for the first 6 hours? And then after that, it goes back to, I like berries, Clive. You know what I mean? Like it goes back to that weird shit.
The classic, like real shitty Final Fantasy.
Yeah,
like,
dude. Like,
interstitial dialogue.
did you read the fucking manga? Like that type of vibe. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, like I said before, I feel like the gear tree, the gear system, and the ability trees are really kind of like bare. It's the bare minimum to get you by in an action game. The worlds and levels, the world, it's super linear. And when I mean linear, I mean this motherfucker is a corridor sometimes. Like,
like they rented out a hall.
Exactly.
They rented a hall.
It's like they just rented out a hallway, you know? And I know there's a lot of criticism thrown at like God of War for that. It's like, oh, it's just a bunch of linear pathways, and then you go to a combat arena. And oh, it's like, yeah, but like the story is told in those moments by the interactions between characters, where I mean the story stops being told in gameplay here. All of the story is in the cutscenes. It's like you get to a place and it's very dated. Like you get to a place, the screen fades, and then it plays a cutscene. And the cutscenes fucking kill me because they're locked at 30 FPS and everything else is an uncapped frame rate. So it drives. So that means that they're pre-rendered.
Dramatic.
So they're pre-rendered, bro. They're not in engine. It just feels like such a like. Even though I like the combat system and it's a beautiful looking game, although performance is kind of all over the place, you know, depending on the environment and how many enemies on the screen, the fucking frame rates will tank sometimes. And like, here's the thing, is that like all of that would be okay if the game was much more ambitious in scope, and it just isn't. You know what I mean? I found like, oh, I feel like I found myself saying, I think Assassin's Creed does a game like this better, you know? I think it's like Final Fantasy's first attempt making that game, that team. So like,
yeah,
this is good as it is, but it's not sustainable for today's market. You know what I mean? That's how I put it.
And that's what I've seen. Like a lot of the consistent reviews of people are really much in alignment with that. Is kind of like it's a breach, and they didn't like fully get it a lot of the time.
They didn't 100% stick the landing, but they did a couple solid flips. You know what I mean?
They did decent. And
yeah.
I saw like a bunch of people were talking about how it's like this one is significantly more like gory and blood and guts and everything, and trying to be like, look, we're a mature game now. Like it's not just about a bunch of people with crazy, you know, Japanese manga hair and shit. Like, but it's also still a Final Fantasy game.
Yeah. I mean, it's good. You know, it is what it is.
Do you think you're gonna finish it?
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna finish.
Hour.
It's like I believe like it's a 44-hour campaign. I think that's what I see on how long to beat right now. Either way, listen, I'm gonna finish it because I'm already like somewhere in between 10 to 15 hours in. So I'm already like quarter way done with it. So I might as well just finish it. And I'm skipping all of the cutscenes. Skipping all of them. So I'll be done even before that.
It's a 20-hour campaign.
Yeah, it's a 20-hour campaign for me, you know? So I'm just getting...
Just a quick...
I'm just trying to get through it because I think the combat and the gameplay are fun. I think everything outside of that is kind of mid. And the reason why I think it's mid is because this is their first time trying to make a game like that. You know? It's very much like Devil May Cry meets God of War, kind of.
Yeah.
But in a much more amateurish way, so...
Hey, you take the swings, and if you hit them, you hit them.
Yeah, I ranked it a 7 out of 10. I just wish it was a better package, but it's okay as it is. You know, I don't hate it, but I don't love it. You know, sometimes, sometimes you swing and you miss. You win some, you lose some.
It's a respectable golf clap.
Yeah, right. Like it was a very 7 out of 10 clap.
Shut up, bitch.
All right. Anyway,
you can just tell that Pat was like, okay, and
yeah.
Oh, where was that again?
Well, the worst part is that it put it into favorites first, so I had to move it. Anyway, so this week, everyone, the main topic on the podcast is The Abyss by James Cameron, which is a film that pioneered the special effects that were eventually used in T2. So I guess we'll start with the number one topic on everyone's mind. Yeah, Ed Harris almost died on this movie. So let's start with you, Nick. How'd that make you feel when you heard Ed Harris almost died? making the Abyss.
I was gonna make an Ocean Gate joke, but Ed Harris, that would have been pretty bad because then he would have done Westworld. So I'm glad he survived.
Listen,
I could have picked that response. Like I could have held up the board and it would have been word for word with that from you, Nick. Like,
if Ocean Gate was anything like Ed Harris in the Abyss, okay, they would have crushed it. Oh wait, my bad.
oh.
Anyway,
Pat.
speaking of crushing it, the Nintendo Direct was this week, and I think they showed us some solid stuff.
Wait, I wanted to hear what Mike had to say about the Abyss.
Oh,
My favorite thing is that James Cameron is basically like, this is a skill issue that they exploded.
Yeah.
The Abyss was good.
your fucking
it.
your submersible was called the Titan. Mine was called the Deep Sea Challenger, bitch. Like that's
The Deep Sea Chad.
So all right, so Nintendo Direct. One more for everybody at home is just we'll never know the depths that Nintendo went to put this presentation together. That one's free. You guys keep that one.
I like that
Anyway,
one.
so
put that in your pocket.
I marked some stuff down that I'm excited for. Mike, I'm sure you did too. Nick, I'm sure you're looking it up right now.
This is the June 21st one, the one that came out a couple
this is
days
one.
ago.
All right, so I'll just go ahead and I'll start. Super Mario RPG remake was announced. I'm so
Let's
fucking
go.
excited. So this release date is November 17th, 2023, which is right before Thanksgiving, which is awesome because that means I could play it that whole fucking weekend.
Is Pinocchio in this game?
Why, Nick?
Pinocchio's not in every game. Nick's got a new.
Who's this little wooden guy next to Mario?
Maybe you got to play the game and figure it out.
So-
that little marshmallow dude.
So, the original release date for this was on the SNES, March 9th, 1996. This adventure, which stars Super Mario, Bowser, Princess Peach, Mallow, Gino, and more,
Gino.
sees our
It's
heroes
Gino.
attempting to take down the Smitty gang while collecting 7 stars to repair the Star Road.
Okay.
Did you played the original, right, Pat?
Yes, I did. I was not good at it.
It's
However,
a hard fucking game.
I did have it in my SNES collection as a young boy that I unfortunately traded away to get an N64. But
They took it from you.
they did. But
They took everything from me.
but yeah, I'm
My
happy this is getting.
foreskin.
I'm happy.
Super Mario RPG.
If anyone's listening, I'd like that back. By the way. Anyway, I'm looking forward to this. I feel like this is a game that needs a good remake. I feel like it would bring a new side to Mario and show everyone an absolute classic that's not really talked about too much. It wasn't only until the
I've never
last
even
couple
heard
of
of
years
this
that it
one.
really came out. Yeah, it's like a Final Fantasy game, but for Mario. You know,
It's a proper turn-based combat game. This one was really hard because you had to do this. Introduced like a lot of, I don't know if it was the first time to do it, but it introduced a lot of like timing for hitting things. Like it's like a really early predecessor to how some of the Paper Mario games came out, where if you had a perfect jump, if you press A right at a certain time, you can block a attack, things like that.
How is it turn-based but also timing? Isn't
So,
it?
because
like,
it's like they
it's like,
hold
it's
the
my
hammer
turn.
back and then you hit
Yeah,
A
like,
and then
up,
you hit the
up,
hammer
up.
really hard.
And if you hit it on the third tick or the third frame, then you'll get a perfect attack. It's turn-based, as in there's like you select a thing and then there's an animation and you can react to that animation.
Yeah.
I really think that this is one of the only benefits we're getting out of every single remake, every single like remake culture that we have in film.
True.
Is that Nintendo is literally just like, okay, we're gonna remaster a bunch of old like Game Boy Advanced or SNES games, because like we got Link's Awakening that was last year I think or the year before, and like which that's a very lauded game. Like, so many
Classic
people
game.
love
Classic Zelda game.
It's interesting because it's really not like a lot of people do like Super Mario RPG, but it's a real cult kind of classic.
It is, and like that's the thing is that I feel like this is a game you should remake, is because it was great, and I don't think it got the due that it deserved back then. Where now it can, I believe, you know.
And I think with I mean, the new fun character designs are cool. We get like a little short, fat, stumpy Mario, which is kind of how he looked in the other one, just because it was like a weird top-down type kind
Perspective,
of like view for the game perspective.
Is this the Chris Pratt Mario or Charles Martinet?
We don't know. We don't
know, Nick. What if
We'll
there's a bunch
know.
of needle drops instead of the classic Mario tunes?
We're gonna get no sleep till Brooklyn while we fight Gino. Like,
so next on the list I had Brick, I don't know if you want to go. Actually, I don't know if you wrote anything down. Did you write anything down?
mine's another Mario one, so you can go.
Okay, I have a WarioWare Move It, which
I'm surprised to see this one.
Really, are you? I've had all of them. I've had them on DS. I've had them on Wii.
I'm not talking shit. I'm just surprised to see that they're like, we need to reinvest in this franchise because
this is one of
it's such a unique and different style of video games that you just don't see anymore.
Yes.
They are fully diving deep into, or like why you've seen so many WarioWare type games across the console life of Nintendo is because what they do in its pure simplest form is utilize Nintendo's hardware.
Yeah.
Like the 3DS had like a bunch of things like that. You had to blow into it. You had to like, yell at it.
Why did Wario become the ambassador of like Nintendo hardware?
Because what else were they gonna do with him?
He didn't need to lead a franchise.
Well, he does
What
now.
about Luigi? Why didn't Luigi get his?
Because
due?
Luigi's got
stuck
Luigi.
in
He's stuck in a
mansions.
mansion,
Yeah.
which comes up later on here too. So, but anyway, this game comes out November 6th, 2023. Synopsis, everybody. So this will get players up on their feet to compete over 200 wild and hilarious minigames. Up to 4 players can play at once, and this game seems to be all about holding a set of Joy-Con and just being as ridiculous as possible by performing actions like... I like how they start with shaking. Like, ridiculous actions like shaking, striking certain poses, dancing, and more. Why would they start
Striking
with
your
just
partner.
shaking, though? Yeah. Committing to avoiding domestic violence charges.
I swear, I was just playing WarioWare Move It. I didn't mean to hit them.
Show me your hand.
I can't if I don't stop shaking it, I'll lose.
5 dead in WarioWare shooting.
In WarioWare Shake Up.
You just see the body cam footage, and it's just some guy with his Switch controller, and he's like, "I can't stop dancing."
Bow, like, shit, turn the body cam off. Turn the body cam off. We fucked up.
Oh God, it's not a gun in his hands; it's a Joy-Con.
It's the Duck Hunt gun.
It's the Wii Zapper.
I saw back to Ocean Gate. There was a tweet that was like they handed out Wii Zappers when they realized that they were gonna die in the Ocean Gate. They were like, "Here's our cyanide pill, guys."
Zoo. All right. Well, listen, I like this game. I'm not sure if it'll be a day one for me, but I will pick this up eventually. I like these games. They're fun
I'm
for a
excited.
game night, for a party night with the boys. You know.
They are. They're good for some drinking and some making sure you have the wrist straps on.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So
I'm excited for Sonic Superstars.
okay, I'm glad you brought this up. I left this off my list, but go ahead, tell us about it.
So it's another. I mean, again, like we're getting another 2D side scroller, and I think this is by the people that had made the God, I can't remember. Remember they made like a whole new old style Sega Sonic game not too long ago that got they got yelled at.
Is that the Pat? That's the one you played, right?
What?
The new Sega game, new Sonic game.
Sonic Frontiers, some shit like
no,
that.
that was one. It was Sonic. Was it Sonic Origins? Is that the one I'm thinking of? But I can't remember. I think it was the same developers who made this made another one not too long ago. But it's cool. It looks like it's like another. It looks like the style again of like how they're going with Super Mario RPG, how they're doing with Zelda's Awakening, where it's kind of 3D but in a 2D setting, and it's kind of all flip the camera. But like, dude, I mean, I love classic games, and if you're just gonna give me a classic game that has better like actual motion control, because I mean, if we're talking about like old Sega or like NES titles where it was like all I can think of in those games is Castlevania, where it's like if you press one direction and you jump, you're going until you hit the floor. You can't do anything midair. Like if you're giving me actual just like more functionality and flexibility in my ability to move,
Yeah.
like I'll take it.
And crisper design.
Yeah, it's a cool design. What they're trying to do is they're not trying to remake the old thing. It's not like some pixely type of design. It's actually like, okay, we're going to take an art direction. We're going to stick with it. It might not be great. It might be cool. Like, I mean, I didn't like the one too much for Link's Awakening. It was a little too, like, I felt it was kind of like childish and like very bubbly. They
But this,
committed to it.
I'm watching the Superstars trailer now, and it's very true to the original. It just looks, like they have more pixels.
Right, which is like what it is. And it's like it's going to be a really fun game because people still play those games, people still run those games, and people still love those games because they're great.
It's coming
was
this
that, like-
fall, it seems.
I think so. I think is it August when it said it's coming out, or
Said this fall. Is August the fall? I'm
Yeah,
not trying to be
fall.
a peener, but
No,
I think
September
no.
is fall.
Yeah, I don't think actually it got a proper thing, but
yeah, I don't think you got.
late 2023 is what it says so far. But I'm really excited for that. It's gonna be good.
Yeah,
what
I'm
you
looking
got,
forward
Pat?
to that too. All right, I got another
Or
one for
Nick
you.
and
Ready?
anything hitting your
I mean, I'm looking at a list, and the only one that's really jumping out at me, other than what we've talked about, is Detective Pikachu.
Really? Okay.
I never played the original, but I'm interested.
Is this the first? Did they have an original game? I know there was the movie.
No, they had a.
It was not. I don't think it was an American release.
No, it
but
was. It was.
Was it?
It was just
Okay.
on DS.
Okay.
Oh, that's right.
It wasn't
Well, I
a
don't know.
mainline
Like
game.
at the time, I don't know anybody who played it. I never heard anybody say anything about this game until the movie came out.
We need Danny DeVito to voice it.
Yes.
I
the
mean,
only
they
thing
had
we-
some weird gruff guy in the original one. He sounded like Danny DeVito. So
Ryan Reynolds.
no, that was the movie. I'm talking about the first game. Because this is Detective Pikachu too. Nick, did it say what platforms it's coming to?
Let's see.
I mean,
Where-
Nintendo doesn't do handhelds anymore. It's all the Switch, so it's got to be the Switch.
I think it's just the Switch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
Okay.
all of these are basically just the Switch.
And this is
Yeah.
October 6th.
Fun. Damn, we got a lot of games coming out.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I just stopped at a point in the trailer. I wish I could show you guys, but it's Pikachu humping a Growlithe.
Oh,
Why?
yeah.
Okay. Why would they put that in the launch trailer?
I don't know, but I'm not even
Or the
making this up.
announcement,
This is a
rather.
real thing that's happening.
Okay. Well, Nick, I guess
Nick
you'll have to
wants
tell
some
us how
home-
Detective Pikachu
Homebred
is.
Pokemon.
Even Pokemon feel a little frisky sometimes. So anyway, Pikmin 4 had a gameplay reveal. So this including Dandori battle minigame.
Dan DeVito.
It included news about the dog Ochi and how many items you can carry, smash obstacles, and become a flotation device for your Pikmin.
Which
It
is
is
good 'cause
also
they drown.
It was also revealed you'll be able to set off on night expeditions for the first time in the series, and you may even run into some Pikmin who glow. If you are still on the fence with Pikmin 4, Nintendo has also confirmed a demo for the game will release on June 28th.
And it's getting a July 21st launch, so this is coming up quick.
Yeah, and then also HD versions of Pikmin 1 and 2 were dropped on the Nintendo eShop too, so you can download them as well and play them on your Switch
nice.
now in full HD. There's also some physical editions coming in the fall too for those games, so if you want to pick those
That's
up as well,
exciting.
yeah. So for the collectors out there, but I'd like to get Pikmin 4. I didn't play Pikmin. Well, wait a minute, I did play Pikmin 3 because they ported it to Switch as well. So I played Pikmin 3. I didn't play it on the Wii U. I remember it was on Wii U. I wasn't fucking getting a Wii U, but yeah, I played it on Switch and it was good. I played Pikmin 1 when it came out multiple times, and Pikmin 2 obviously. So I'm excited for Pikmin 4. That's gonna be a good time.
Sorry, can we take 2 quick seconds? I'm gonna like piss myself.
Oh yeah, go right ahead. So
All right,
again,
hold on.
Nick and I will eat up some airtime. Yeah.
So, Ocean Gate jokes. This is our segment, little segment called Ocean Gate jokes.
Okay.
Pat, what do you got for us?
Okay. All right. I got one for you. What has no air and is at the bottom of the ocean?
The Titanic.
Close. The Titan submersible.
Yeah, you really got me. You really got me
I
there.
bet you thought that
Pat.
was the last thing I was gonna say, wasn't it?
Yep. I just can't get over all the videos of the CEO and the captain of the Titan just being like, "Oh, this industry just wants to box out the little guys like me, multimillionaire, Stockton Rush. I'm not gonna follow regulations because I'm an innovator." And then everybody told them, "You are going to sentence people to death."
Well, one thing
And they were right.
One thing I find absolutely fascinating, which was this concept that I wasn't familiar with because, I'm not a fucking engineer, is this concept of operational lifetime. And that's what they were doomed from the start, because that was something they never considered, which was like, this might be able to go down once. How many times can you make that trip before you got to replace the sub? You know what I mean? There's a bunch of subs that are like that. The other thing there are some subs that are built for one submersion and then go straight to a museum. You know what I mean? Because they can't do that shit again.
Indiana Jones subs.
And so the one thing that I don't think you guys know is that you guys know that somebody released the audio from the implosion, right?
Oh,
Did they?
that the Navy
That
captured.
the Navy captured, and there's two pops. The first one they think comes from the hull buckling, and because they said that they had released ballast to ascend, and that when the transmission got cut off, power was lost as well, because they think that that first crunch was the hull cracking. And then they released ballast to try and get up, but it was already too late. And then the thing fucking imploded. And that's the big one that you hear. So you hear a pop first, and then probably a couple seconds later, you hear that, you know what I mean? So for probably 0.2 seconds, they knew they were going to die.
Maybe not even that. Maybe they knew something was wrong, but not oh, we're about to die. I really hope there wasn't even a moment for them to even think what was going on.
And
especially because that one kid that was on board,
yeah,
I really feel for him. Did you hear the story that it's Alexis told me about this? He had expressed fears about going on board.
Yeah,
but because it was Father's Day, he went on board to appease his father.
Yeah,
that's
fucked up.
fucking sad.
And then the other thing was that the footage, the debris that they had recovered was right underneath where they dropped, their position was in the water. Was number one, and number two, it was about 1,600 yards from the bow of the Titanic. So they were right where so it was one of those things where it took 4 days to get another vehicle that can get down that far to try and find them.
Yeah.
And
to confirm everyone's suspicions.
Yeah, but when they got down there, what they found was the back fin of it, the landing truss, and then some more scattered debris, and the titanium viewports, because they weren't carbon fiber, they weren't going to get destroyed. But the thing is that that's why they think not only did they find out they released ballast to go up right before they imploded, so they knew there was an emergency, but they confirmed this because the feet that they released from the bottom of the sub landed perfectly. So it was a controlled release of those feet. So they knew they were fucked at some point. They knew there was a problem. Panic definitely set in at some point. You know what I mean? That's what I'm saying. I'm glad it was over quick, but it was definitely more grim than you realize. You know what I mean?
Unfortunately.
Yep. So, with that said, speaking of grim games, Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon.
Nice.
There's a remaster. It's originally on the 3DS. It came out originally March 20th, 2013, and this will be arriving in 2024. There's no synopsis. It's literally just a remaster and an upscale of this game onto the Switch, which I would take another Luigi's Mansion game. That's a franchise they haven't milked into the ground yet, so why not?
Yeah, definitely yet.
Yeah.
And
You
I
know,
feel like that's a franchise too that like
it stands
I
the
would
test of time.
yeah, honestly, like I would appreciate it more now playing it than I did back when I was younger.
Oh yeah, you know there was a mode actually in the old Luigi's Mansion where you can use both sticks at the same time to move Luigi around, like an X and Y type of access thing, which was super revolutionary for a game at the time. But then you can also a mode where you can move Luigi, like move him and turn him at the same time using just the left
Mhm.
stick. I played the original one a couple years ago on my GameCube, and um yeah, it was just a great game, and I was always upset that the sequel went to 3DS because I guess they weren't putting that shit on Wii U because
No.
no one was gonna buy it, and the Switch thankfully got the third one though. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but
I would
yeah,
like to. It'd be like I watched Guy play a little bit of Luigi's Mansion back in the. I never played it as a kid. I've only seen him play it, and it seemed to me like pretty thin on the premise. And it was more about like the ambiance of the game. It'd be interesting to see them kind of flesh it out a little bit and give it more story and yeah, I like it'd be cool to do that and have this actually be a series. Imagine if we just had a bunch of like Luigi ghost hunting games.
we do. Now we'll have three.
Yeah, that's
So,
true.
So then this actually caught me off guard, and I think it surprised a lot of people. The Batman Arkham trilogy is
I was
going to
waiting
the
for you to
Switch
talk to
this
this.
fall. So all three games with all of their DLC is coming to the Switch this fall. That's
wow.
a great deal for anyone who hasn't played the games yet. I don't know how the Switch is gonna run Arkham Knight.
I was gonna say it's not a great deal if it's basically gonna be like a PlayStation 1 quality.
Well, I don't think it'll be that, but I think
It's
it'll
gonna
be.
be really bad though. Dude.
It's not gonna be great. It's not. I will say that it will not be great. But what is nice is that this tells you all you need to know. The Arkham games stand the test of time. The last one of these games came out 8 fucking years ago. And the first one came out in 2009. Like they really are they really did set the bar high, a standard that no one but Spider-Man has been able, a bar that's only Spider-Man was able to clear. And it's just one of those things where if there's a new player or younger players who only have a Switch, or just it's a new way for these games to be introduced to a new audience, specifically a younger audience, with all of their DLC intact. You know, they get the full complete package, and that's exciting. At least I think so.
No, I think it's
Sorry
cool.
to bum everyone out.
No,
I just don't know if I'd want to play those games on that console.
I don't disagree, but there are
That's
people who
exactly
can
what I was
only
gonna
play
say.
those games on this console, and I think that's what
Yeah.
they're going for here.
it definitely opens it up to more people. These games have been around, like you said, the last one nearly a decade ago. So they're pretty accessible, I'd say, on a lot of different kind of things. I think it's a little shitty that it's like, okay, well, it's probably gonna like look bad. But like to your point, like yeah, these games are constantly still talked about, referenced as a gold standard for
I still go back and play them every few years.
a lot of things. Like they set the ground for like constantly any kind of basically game post that for like different types of combat. They made it so you can't just like brute force your way through things. Like they're fun games, and it's cool they're getting a re-release.
Yeah, and on here, remember, Arkham City is not just is not the greatest licensed video game title of all time. Arkham City is often discussed as one of the greatest video games ever made. So remember
Period,
that,
yeah.
and all of its DLC is inside this package as well. You know what I mean? You're getting undoubtedly the greatest Batman game of all time, whether you like 1, 2, or 3 the most. You're getting undoubtedly the greatest superhero games of. I mean, there's some contention with Spider-Man, but I feel like Spider-Man borrows a lot more from Arkham, where Arkham really innovated to that. So you're getting one of the best superhero games of all time. You're and up for debate, depending on where you want to put it on the list. You're getting one of the greatest games ever made in this package as well, and all its DLC. So, like I said, new players are gonna love it. I can't wait to see how Arkham Knight runs. I'm waiting for that first. So
It's interesting, all right.
and then I got one last one, Mike. I'm sure you know what it is, unless
Real
anybody
quick,
else has any of them.
before you move on, I just want to say I didn't realize that they had done more Luigi's Mansion games. So I just looked up Luigi's Mansion 3, and the website for Luigi's Mansion 3 is awesome. The design is great. All like there's like a ton of motion. The nav bar has like it like when you move the mouse over it, it like wiggles and wobbles it's really cool.
That is cool.
Are you,
That's
are
it.
you gonna get Luigi's Mansion 3 now, Nick? Is this gonna will this be the game that Nick gets a Switch for?
Actually, we were just hanging out with like John and some other people, and they're a Switch household, and Alexis was like, "Oh, maybe I'll get a Switch for like for whatever game they were talking about." So if she gets one, obviously I'll be using it too. So I might, who knows? Who knows what the future holds?
Get
Hey
the
man,
OLED.
it's gonna be. Yeah, I was gonna say get the OLED.
Get the
and 'cause
OLED.
We're not getting a new Nintendo system
For a while.
For about 5 to 8 years.
honestly 3 to 5 years at least.
Yeah, 3 to 5 at least. All right, so I have one last one. Unless Burke, you got one.
It's a me.
That's the one I got. Yeah.
Is
Super
this the one where
Mario's what?
is this the one where he's an elephant?
Yes, it is.
Yes,
Super
it
Mario
is.
Bros. Super Mario Bros. Wonder.
We want a new
Which is-
Metroid.
Which
Go
is
ahead,
a
Mike.
It's a cool looking game. Like we haven't got a 2D side scrolling Mario. I saw a meme that was like it talked about like the last 4 presidents, and it talked about like the 2D Mario side scrollers that were released during their time, and they were like, we received 0 2D Marios during Trump's presidency. But it's a cool 2D Mario. It changes on the art style a little bit. It makes it a little more to me it reminds me of like Yoshi's Island, and kind of like it's a lot trippier. It's about wonder, and you get these wonder seeds where you basically change the whole environment, and it kind of is like really just leaning into the fact of like, hey, we all used to joke about Mario eating mushrooms and seeing all these things. This is like actually what would happen if Mario ate mushrooms and saw all these
so
things.
I do have an official
Really?
synopsis here. It's 2D Mario game is the Wander Flowers as they make wild and unexpected things happen in the world, like causing pipes to come to life. Furthermore, it will let players choose whether to play as Mario, Luigi, Toad, Princess Peach, Princess Daisy, and Yoshi. And I believe there's a Princess Peach game coming out too, if I'm not mistaken, on the heels of this, right, Mike?
I think so.
Yeah.
That's what I saw.
Yeah.
I saw it on Twitter.
Yeah. October 20th, 2023, this is set to release.
Oh.
So
But these are cool, man.
That
I mean,
pipe
like
is
they're
crawling like a worm.
it sure is.
I feel like Mike, this is your type of Mario game.
This is cooler because I mean I do like the 2D Mario games, don't get me wrong. They are often very like young audience facing. Like they're not super difficult a lot of the time, and they're not like they're pretty straightforward. This one looks like it's gonna kind of change some stuff around and at least have a little bit more fun with it to make it more interesting to play. I don't imagine it's gonna be difficult. You know, they never are. Again,
Yeah.
they're meant for generally a younger audience. But like it looks cool and it looks fun. Like I'm definitely gonna play it. They always for these games make a lot of content with it too. It's never like 1 or 2 worlds. Like it's a fat game.
Yeah.
And then plus we get to be Elephant Mario in it, which is kind of fun.
I would agree. That is kind of fun.
Like I mean that's real. Is like I don't have much more to say about Elephant Mario than it's like yeah that's kind of fun.
Yeah, I'm looking for. I definitely pick this up. This looks like a good time.
Yeah, it looks trippy as fuck.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's all I have to say about the Nintendo Direct. Is that this was a good one. I think there's a lot of stuff in here that we're all looking forward to.
Yeah, I think I don't think there was anything too much else coming around.
So, in lieu of the clip of the week song, I'm just gonna play.
You gotta hold it back from the mic a little bit.
Hold on, I'll find him.
Is Patrick singing the blues?
No, hold on.
No.
Never could have made it without you. I would have lost it all. But now I see how you were there for me, and I can't say I'm stronger. I'm wiser.
All right, well with that.
That's gospel Patrick.
I don't like that at all.
You know what's wild is that like
It sounds like Michael McDonald.
it sounds like the voice actor, but you're like, shit, hold on, he can sing like that? Like it's a good impression.
All right. Well,
I
it's
know
a
it's AI,
it's yeah.
but-
All right, we ready? Let's
Yeah.
do this.
So for the listeners out there, there's no audio on this clip. It's a bunch of gentlemen standing by the side of the road having a
A
very
classic tire.
A
having
sporting.
standing by a pile of tires.
What could go wrong?
What could go wrong?
Oh no.
I don't like this.
It's too long for something bad to happen.
Oh!
The misdirect.
Oh, Nick, that was a good one.
Like a
You thought
section
they were
of-
gonna get hit by a car.
I thought
but
something
they
was
fell in
gonna
a hole.
explode, or they were gonna get electrocuted, and they would all disappear, or like turn into a section of I-95 in Philadelphia.
Yeah,
You
turn
know?
into a stain on the pavement.
It didn't look like they fell too far, though.
No, but then a motorcycle landed on them.
It didn't look too bad. Oh my god, that's awful.
My God, it caused my Discord to scream.
Thank
Here,
Yeah,
I'm
you did not
gonna play it
expect that.
once
I was-
more, so I make sure I get it all in on the footage. But yeah,
I was expecting somebody like I was right here. I thought those two motorcycles were gonna crash in the back, or I was expecting like honestly with a Nick clip like this to get hit by like.
I
a
was
drone
expecting
attack.
all of them to be beheaded.
Yeah,
I mean, the motorcycle falling on them is the worst part of this. They'll get out.
They'll get out, but that is not gonna feel good.
they're not.
Yeah,
gonna
no,
be
it definitely
happy
still
about
hurt.
it.
They're gonna have some bruises, that's for sure. There's no way.
I like it. It's like what even is? You can see that the cement is separate from the rest of whatever this landing that they're standing on. Was somebody like running pipes or cables down there? Because it's like a cavern down there.
That's a good question.
It might have
be,
been
like,
just
the
a hole that they
basement.
covered up with a rock, like a.
It looks like a crawl space.
It's not a crawl space. I like this one, Nick.
I
This
do
is
like
the
how
one-
they
I'm glad.
all like they get perfectly right in it. They've
Yeah,
had
they
they had
line
to
up.
feel it.
Look at the guy on the left. He makes one step backward that causes the whole thing to crumble.
Okay, let's see.
Let's see.
Wait for it.
You think it's his fault?
I mean, it was all their fault, but
It's the failing infrastructure of wherever we are.
They definitely deserved it. That's for sure. That's one thing I could say with absolute certainty is that they deserved it.
Is that it is deserved.
Oh man, I'm exhausted, you guys. After I went too hard at Avenged Sevenfold on Friday. I got way too fucked up and was hungover on Saturday.
that's a good weekend.
Yeah.
Oh no.
And then I went.
I think that's signs we got to end this before we start going too hard with these sound effects.
Yeah,
I do love them.
they are very nice.
Suck my dick.
So with that said, all right. Thanks so much, everybody. We will see you next week for our review of Indiana Jones and the most patriotic podcast ever, because that episode drops on July 4th. So wear your red, white, and blues, boys.
Okay.
Boy.
We will see you next week. All right. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.
Later.